These aren't chilled out programs. But as the Prophet ﷺ said, he goes, "Ta'arraf ala Allah fi ar-raha, ya'rifka fi shidda." Acquaint yourself with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala when times are good. It doesn't get much better than a 5-star hotel. Right? In the Shama'il it mentions, كان رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم يحب أن ينظر إلى الخضراء والماء الجاري. That the Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم liked to look at greenery and running water. That's ibadah then. Meaning if he did it and he loved it, then we love it. But it takes what our brother Wajid reminded us, making intentions for it to be ibadah. But he goes, the program's lighter than any other archery. Marhaban, is archery not a sunnah? Is archery not one of those rare spaces when you're walking on paradisial space between the two targets? Is archery not a reward for every single arrow? There's immense reward for it.
I'll be honest, archery tests your patience. I'm maybe a little bit too haphazardous and a little bit too eager at the start. I've learned a lot about pacing myself. I've learned a lot about taking your time when it comes to lining your shots, not just in life, but in archery as well. And we've had a great trainer, a local man has come with us here from Luton. We've had all the professional setup and as much assistance as possible. And inshallah, before we leave, I will hit a bullseye at least once.
My experience with horse riding and archery was that the archery was really good. I learned a lot from that.
Put the arrow up there onto your thumb. Use that thumb to keep the arrow held, right? Like that. Okay, now. Yeah? Keep your eyes both open. Now reach over and do your shot now. Slide it up right under. Yep, perfect. Keep your head straight. No, as if facing the target, but don't tilt it. Yeah, perfect. Well done, mashallah. I'll keep that up like that. Perfect.
The great Imam Shafi'i said, "What himmati kana fi shay'ain," that my motivation, my aspirations lied in two things: ar-rimaya wa talab al-ilm, archery and the acquisition of sacred knowledge. But look what he mentioned first. He didn't say ilm wa rimaya, knowledge and archery. He said archery and the acquisition of sacred knowledge. Amma rimaya fa asabtu 10 min 10. As for archery, you see I would hit the bullseye 10 out of 10. There's a link though. There's a link between what? Archery and intelligence and learning. So don't think that those things are remiss in the statements that they make. So archery, sunnah, swimming. I was so happy today to see, mashallah, brothers with their children or their nephews or the like. Right? So what do we do before we go in? Nawaitu sunnat al-sibaha. I make intention to fulfill the sunnah of swimming. Every time you're in there playing with your children or your family, it's reward.
My favourite thing about the hotel obviously has to be all the spa and swimming and sauna facilities. It's not every day you get to sit in somewhere, get to use somewhere every day that has a 5-star spa facility.
Rukūb al-khayl, mentioned in the Quran, riding horses. Right? Those things will teach you something spiritually about yourself.
With horse riding and archery, obviously it's my 3rd time now, and the first time I ever sat on a horse was in this retreat. I really enjoy horse riding, and as you go on a horse more and more, you connect with the horse, and also you learn to get used to riding a horse, and your confidence grows as well. And every time I've been on this retreat and been on a horse, or whether it's been archery, my skill level has gone up and up, and I feel that I'm quite confident now. And now I'm planning on taking lessons in horse riding when I go back to the UK, so I've grown fond of horses.
First time horse riding, it's really something that brings you back to the nature around you, brings you back to the creations of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's very easy to get caught up in the busy life, and spending a few hours riding horses around is something that puts a peace in your heart that is not quite explainable anywhere else apart from when you experience it.
I absolutely love horses. Previously we've come to Turkey before and we've also previously done horse riding. It's been a really good experience. So my daughters right now are doing horse riding in the UK, and for them to have an experience of doing it here as well was absolutely great.
I prefer the little horses because they don't run that fast and it's a little bit easier to control.
Alhamdulillah, it's an immense blessing. Allah gathers, mashallah, to come to the grave and the companions of the Prophet ﷺ. There's a statement that companions used to say, "Kunnu nuhib qurbahu wa yuhib bu'dana," that we love to be close to the Prophet ﷺ, wa yuhib bu'dana, but he loved for us to be far from him. فَقَدَّمْنَا حُبَّهُ عَلَى حُبِّنَا. So we put what he loved over and above what we loved. That the companions, mashallah, they circumambulated the globe. Sayyidina Sa'ad on a position buried nowhere in China. How did Sayyidina Abu Ayyub end up in Constantinople? There's a hadith that the Prophet ﷺ said, أَوَّلُ جَيْسٍ مِنْ أُمَّتِي يَغْزُونَ قَسْطَنْطِنِيَّةَ مَغْفُورًا لَهُمْ. That the first army that wages war in Constantinople is forgiven. Right? We just went to the grave of who? Sayyidina Muhammad al-Fatih. Likewise, the Prophet said about him what? لَا تُفْتَحَنَّ Constantinople, that Constantinople will be opened. وَلَنِعْمَ الْأَمِيرُ أَمِيرُهَا. And what a blessed Amir is that Amir, that leader. وَنِعْمَ الْجَيْشُ جَيْشُهَا. And the army is going to be a blessed army. So we know the likes of Sayyidina Abu Ayyub, he was from those who was classed as a bodyguard of the Prophet ﷺ. But yet because of that hadith, that the first army from my ummah that wages war in Constantinople will be forgiven, he made the intention to go out when the call came. But how old was he? Over 80 years old. Over 80 years old, just to enact that one hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, to the extent that he had to be carried. You know, who would want to leave Medina? Who would want to leave the Prophet ﷺ? وَلَكِنْ قَدَّمْنَا حُبَّهُ عَلَى حُبِّنَا. He loved for us to be far, to call to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So he put what he loved over and above what we loved. And so he came in, mashallah, he participated in the campaign, became Anwar, and was blessed to be buried in this blessed land. His grave was unknown for a number of years, and mashallah, through Kashf of the Light, people found out where his grave was. What was known also, that there were a group of non-Muslims, Christians, that would come to this patch before it was made a masjid and would pray. Why? Because it was a place that they would be accepted. The du'as would be accepted. And so it's a place where people come far and wide, as you can see. Why? Because their supplication, inshallah, will be accepted. We said it before on the course, whatever issues you have, these are the places that you come and you pour your hearts out to, right? That you come here, inshallah. We went to do the ziyarah, and likewise there's a thing known as al-fina, like the courtyard of where the grave is, where the souls roam. And so if you notice, after the ziyarah, people will come here and supplicate here as well. So they say that this is the fina, the courtyard of the grave of Sayyidinah Abu Ayyub al-Ansari. There's a position, a lesser position, that he's buried here as well. But one thing that it's known, that it's tried and tested, that the dua likewise is answered there as well, under this tree. So you see, that's like the method of people that come, they'll do the ziyarah, come out, and they'll make supplication here as well. So whatever intention, inshallah, you're making, make it at these places, inshallah. It's nothing for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to accept your dua at this. And ordinarily, why? Because of the barakah of the collective group. We have, aunties here, we have youth here. By their blessings, inshallah, it will be answered. So these are places, mashallah, that we should think about how many people, we don't know who prayed with us in here. By the barakah of them, inshallah, our du'as will be accepted.
We saw the grave of Sayyidinah Rūmī, a very well-renowned historical poet. In Konya there was a definite presence. Now this is a place where, again, it's another blessed place, but on top of this, it's a place where really there is an embodiment of love. These people, not only did Rumi focus on all of his work on trying to display the message of love, but actually attained the station of true love for Allah.
I have been a fan of Mawlana Rumi for as long as I can remember. And one of my favourite quotes of Mawlana Rumi is, "What you seek is seeking you." And I feel like when I went there, I think I was seeking some peace, and I felt immense peace when I visited the Maqam, and just being there. I could have just spent a lot longer there than I did. I'm going to go ahead and research more about Mawlana Rumi and find out what the stories were and how they became such a big figure within Konya, within the world actually.
To be in the presence of the graves of these great people, it's inspiring. But what these places do is they remind you to not look at the prima facie, the initial instinct. It's to look deeper. It's a stark revelation. It's hard to look deeper on yourself and to realize maybe where your misgivings are, but it's a great encouragement to try and express that love, not only for the Ummah, but try and express that love, that total love and dedication to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
Mawlana ya Mawlana ya Sami' du'ana bi hurmat Muḥammad la taqta rajana ballighna munana innana akhtana aw khatbun dahana la yakshif durrana.
I remember many years ago there's a special cemetery in Hadramaut, and it's known as some of the companions who fought in the Battle of Badr are buried there. And so we went then, Habib Mashur, radiallahu anhu, rahmatullahi alayhi, I still remember the words that he addressed the group with. And it was only a small group that went on this particular visitation. And he said, why do we come to these spaces, sacred spaces? And by extension, why do we come to lessons? Why do we come to dhikr? Why do we come to places of blessings and the like? He goes, we don't come here because we're pious. He goes, we come here because we are messed up. We don't come here because we're some type of pious, religious folk. No, we come because we have our issues. And we come here and we throw these issues onto what Allah bless what I just said, these blessed schedules that have been legislated and placed down from those who came before us. And so it's upon us to really manifest intentions, like in a real serious, dedicated sense, not in a flippant sense. Yes, make intentions. No, really make intentions. That the ancients, they would literally inculcate in their children intentions like they would teach them the Fatiha. You're facing some challenges, spiritual challenges. Make that Allah alleviate those spiritual challenges by the barakah of the Jama'ah, by the blessings of what the collective group. You have financial problems. Ask Allah to alleviate those financial problems for you by the blessings of these types of spaces. You have health issues, marital issues, whatever intentions you're going to bring, inshallah, bring them to these types of spaces. Why? Because it's always by the blessings of what? The Jama'ah. Right? There's a very specific nadra and gaze from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala upon what? The collective group. Like we carry one another. Right? But all we have to do is be sincere in these intentions.